All right, so in 2006, 2007, you put out the Love Potion Collection 4, right?
Yeah.
Around that time?
Yeah.
The song Take Me in My Sleep.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
The way your words paint the image.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You
that was a tough experience, man, because that was, my mom was dying when I made that song, and she ultimately ended up dying shortly after. So that was a painful, man, it's interesting that you bring this up. So one of the issues that happened when I signed to Rhymesayers, to kind of go back to what we were just talking about, is Rhymesayers signed me, and then my mom passed away, and I made an album full of really dark, kind of bleak songs that were very lyrically dense, very sad, very hurt about the grief that I was going through. And I don't think Rhymesayers wanted to release an album like that. And I don't think that they wanted to tell me, hey, man, like, we want you to make a rap record that's like something that like chicks play at a party when they're in the car on the way to the beach, whatever it is. And you're just making Take Me in My Sleep, the song you're talking about, every song on this album. So I understand it in hindsight of like, man, like not everybody wants to release a like really heavy, grief heavy rap record. And that's what I made. And it's just this thing like, yeah, dude, that song was a tough one. That was a heavy experience for sure. So my mom died in 2004, and that song, I made that while she was sick.
Right. So, I mean, the description though, like the way that you say, my mama's in the hospital because she's got a lung disease. She has to wear oxygen tanks or it's tough to breathe. There's no God-given magic tricks up her sleeves, just an IV tube full of morphine to numb the greed of the doctors and the damages, using $30,000 hospital bills as bandages. Like, it's insane, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But like, what I get from it is that you were talking about how difficult it is to watch someone you love in pain, and you feel ashamed because it's almost like there's nothing you can do to make things better, no matter what you do. Like, you can't fix the problem.
Yeah. And it's weird too, because like this thing happens. I don't know do you have children? Do you have kids?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as a father, that your kids can never understand how much you love them, that it's not a thing that's equal. And they can try, but ultimately you brought them into the world. You've cared for them since they were these helpless little balls of flesh, and went through all of their growth, their development. And how old are your kids? How old are
they're younger than yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my son is 13. My daughter is 9. And every year there's new shades of their personality that come out. They're new people, and they don't understand. It's not even like I do this because like, oh, I love you. And it's about the feeling of love. And it's just this, like when you're a child, your parents' love is free. It's this thing that you just get because you were born, and you receive it, and you don't even realize that you're getting love just because you're alive and because your caretakers made you, and you get it without any level of, you don't have to earn it, anything like that. When you have children, love is about so much more. It's so much higher stakes. You're protecting these kids. You're molding them to the best of your ability into these people that do right by the world and have good, upstanding character, good morals, treat people with kindness and respect, you have to constantly correct mistakes. My son got caught taking beer to school a month ago, and he's fucking 13 years old, and I still love him, and I still have, like, we have to navigate this experience together. And as a father with his mother, we have to work through this and unpack it and figure out how to correct his course. And the point that I'm making is, as parents, our love for our children is so much higher stakes. It's so much riskier. There's so much more involved behind the scenes that your kids never see. And when I made the song that you're talking about, the idea, I think, was when you lose a parent or you lose your mom, you don't feel worthy of the love that you received from this person. And you feel like you have to try to figure out a way to prove to them that you loved them. And the thing is they already know because they're your parents. But you don't really grasp that until you have children and you understand what parent-child love is as a dynamic. And on that song, I was talking through a lens where I was emotionally frustrated because I was losing this person I loved so much, and I felt completely unworthy because I didn't understand, like, why did I deserve all of these beautiful things that you did for me, and how can I possibly thank you? How can I possibly, as you're dying, let you know that the love that we shared is important? How can I let you know that? And the thing is your parent doesn't have to know that. It's not a give and take with them. It's not a reciprocating motion. It's not they love you as long as you love them in return. But you don't know that until you have your own kids, and you realize with your own kids, you motherfucking kids would never even understand the ways that I feel about you. You can love me because I'm your dad and I'm your parent and we're close and I've raised you and you're fond of me, but you don't understand what it feels like to know that these are the most important things on earth to me. And every day is finally curated for you to have as safe and clean and positive as an experience as I can give you. You don't know anything about bills. You don't know anything about stress. You don't know anything about finances, taxes, getting a letter in the mail from the IRS saying that you owe $2,000 from 2017 that you forgot to pay, and now you got to go figure out a way to come up with it. You don't know anything about that. To you, this is food and TV and all of the great things that your parents provide for you because you're in your, first 10, 20 years of life. And you don't know until you get older what your parents were doing for you, as imperfect as they were, as fucked up, flawed, angry, abusive, distant, as much as they gaslit you, all the different things that they did. Still, you have respect for them when you have your own kids because you realize they were fucking holding on by a string. They were barely holding it together, yet they never made you feel that. You always at least felt like there was some level of love intact with them, assuming they were in your life. And when my mom passed away, I wanted to scream to the world, like, I love you. I hope you understand that I love you as much as you love me. But no, I didn't. I didn't understand that. And it took my whole 20s, 30s, and now 40s to really grasp that. And that's what that song was about.
Bro, the sacrifice that parents make is you just don't even realize it until you become a parent yourself. Like,
yes,
the fact that you have to take care of this, you're responsible completely for the well-being of this one thing, right? And any little small mistake or something like that could fuck them up, and you know what I mean, every possible way. It's insane,
it's insane.
You take
And
so much for granted when you're in the other position, when you're the
yes,
child, right? You
that's
take so
exactly
much
right.
for granted, and you don't even realize like what it is. Like there's a plenty of times where I call my mom to this day and I tell her like I'm so sorry, like like I didn't realize like what you did for me until yeah.
But you realize that through the lens of your own children,
Right,
where you
exactly.
raise your own children and now you're like, damn, my fucking mom was going in for me and I was
Right.
doing this and acting this way, because you're kind of born into this experience where you're just alive and there's people that love you and you don't have any context for it, because you're just one day you're 1 years, one day you're 1 day old, and these people love you more than anything. There's no explanation according to you, because you were born and you have no experience. And as kids, you don't get it. My daughter, my son, they don't get it. They don't understand how fucking stressful it is to just keep them in this clean, healthy, safe environment. They just think that the living room that we have and the furniture that we have and the nice TV that we have and the food that we have in the fridge, that's just what you get when you're alive. They don't realize that there's somebody that is literally providing all of these things for you. And it's terrifying on a daily basis.
But you know what also is because like the world is constantly changing from the way that we grew up in similar fashion, like the way that our parents grew up, right? For the way that they raised us. So it's like it's you're trying to keep up with the way things are changing as a parent and trying to learn how to adapt and apply to raise them in this new era. You know what I'm saying? Like, for
Yes,
example,
yes.
like with technology and social media, like we didn't really grow up in that kind to the level it is now, right? And you see the impact it has on children now, right?
Yes.
And it's just kind of like it's a brave new world. You're just kind of like, well, fuck, we got to learn how to navigate this shit.
And but the thing that's crazy, bro, is like 5 years ago, technology felt crazy then. This is what's so crazy is like I was raising, my son is 13 years old and I'm sitting there raising him and he's got like exposure to an iPad that he would use occasionally and like YouTube and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is fucking crazy what's happening like with like YouTube and technology. And we didn't even know AI was a thing. And like that the way that technology is now is different from what it was 5 years ago. And it's like that continues to change. And it's changing so rapidly and it's so scary. And the thing is like our parents' blueprint that they had for us, the way that they raised us, wouldn't work if we tried to apply it with our kids today. We wouldn't be able to approach parenting in the exact same way that our parents did, because they didn't have the outside world that they were raising us in was completely different.
Absolutely.
And that's the hardest part about it, is there's no real good reference for how to do this the right way, because the world is changing so rapidly. It's like it's never been done. We're literally all doing this for the first time together. And it's so fucking scary sometimes, man.
So in that song, when you say "Take me in my sleep, but don't take me to heaven," you're saying you hope death will be comfortable, but you don't have any blind faith in the idea of an afterlife.
Yeah, I think that's probably, if you're pulling that from an old interview, that would probably be what that meant at the time. I think that it was like being comfortable with the idea of death, but not relying on my religious faith that I had in my teens and 20s, that I kind of broke away from when I lost my mom. That was the biggest break for me. For me, that like kind of ruptured my idea of faith and spirituality and reinvented it. And I think that song, I'm sitting there kind of talking, like what I'm saying is like, yeah, man, like I am okay with the idea of dying, and I'm okay with not knowing what happens when I die.
Yeah, because let's talk about that. You came up in a very religious Presbyterian household, right?
Yeah.
How do you think that affected you growing up?
I think that a lot of religious people that are raised in very religious households, there's limits to the culture and the exposure that they have to the outside world, the rest of the world. And I had to become an adult and realize there was so much that I wasn't exposed to, that I didn't even hear about at home, because I lived in this kind of insular religious.
Like a bubble?
Yeah, man, I think so. And culture is a huge part of it. And like other cultures, other races, other countries. Granted, religion, a lot of these religions, like the mainstream ones, transcend nations and borders, but there's just a certain way that a lot of like Western Christian people are raised, that they're kind of shielded from the understanding of what else goes on out in the world.
Did you find yourself like conflicted at times with your environment or like the music that you grew to love with hip hop because of the religion?
Nah, not really. Not because of the religion. I would say more because it just didn't feel like my upbringing. Like the way that I grew up, it didn't feel like this naturally is something that would turn into hip hop music. Like the music that I liked and aligned with did not sound like my upbringing.
Mm.
Religion to me was like, I was around it, but I always also, just like I was saying earlier in the interview, it wasn't so strict that it was like oppressive. It was just more or less the worldview that I grew up around was very limited and very much like, well, you worship Jesus, you die, and then you go to heaven. What else is there? And it's like there's so much else. But I don't think that it was anything like religion had me conflicted over like music. Like, not really.
Do you find that every religion has a cult like aspect to them?
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
you said that up until you questioned your faith, you just followed blindly.
Yeah.
Because like that was kind of the culture in Kansas City, right? Like atheists were considered weird and treated differently.
Yeah, they still are. Like I think it's becoming more mainstream and more accepted to be atheist. But in Kansas City, it's still very religious here. It's still very much people that are there's a lot of churches here. There's a lot of Christians here. There's a lot of MAGA here. And that's just kind of what it is out here.
So in 2016, you had tweeted, "Is believing in a flat earth any crazier than believing an invisible man lives in the sky who hates gays and decides what sport team wins?"
Right.
Was this just a joke, or like it's kind of like coinciding like with like your religious like faith, like moving away from it at the time?
Yeah, no, I think I was just making fun of the idea of flat earth theory was very popular at the time. And like but everybody was saying it was ridiculous and they were picking on flat earthers, and I'm like, okay, well, you're making fun of them for believing in a flat earth when you believe that the fucking New England Patriots won the AFC championship, because Jesus let them, like, thank Jesus. Saquon Barkley had 200 rushing yards today, and 3 touchdowns. God willed it. Like, it's just crazy. It's like, why would he care about something like that? And so it was just more about like, don't be a hypocrite. Like, if you're going to judge people for what they believe, being silly, make sure that you don't believe a bunch of silly shit yourself first.